Welcome back to Site Tech Intermountain Siteworks training videos. In this video, I want to talk about feature code libraries or FXL files. If you've never used an FXL file, it's an option that you can turn on when you're setting up a job site, or if you already have a job site that is set up, you can retrieve an FXL file that's been default set into another project, and you can move it in the SCS 900 data, the root folder. You can go and plug it into the project. So it's not like you have to do the very beginning. But the process I'm going to show you right now is to actually do that. Now, Trimble has a default feature code library that allows you, when you go to record points. So if I'm going to record manholes or water valves or poles or fire hydrants or utility lines, normally you can give it a name and a type in a code, but this actually gives you a feature code library that's already built in, unless you build your own. So Trimble, like I said, has a default one that I'm going to show you. But if you want to make your own and you have Trimble Business Center, you can make your own feature code library in Trimble Business Center, export it, and use that. So it's not maybe so large and so cumbersome, but you can also add your own to one that's in here. So the way you do this is on a new project like I have set up here. In project name, just go ahead and name your project whatever it is. If it's a brand new one, we'll just call this Site Tech FXL. For feature code library. We're going to leave it US survey fee, all this other stuff, and hit next. And in here, where there's the list of things you can bring in, such as the map, calibration, control points, there's an FXL file option right there that's usually defaulted off. So you can check that box, and it's a default from Trimble. So you can go ahead and bring that in and hit finish, and then you can go ahead and finish setting up the rest of your job site, which I'll do real quick, and then we'll get into recording some points. So anytime you need to actually record anything now, on your main screen right here, you can actually see that there's an option at the top here that shows up above where the guy is standing there for standing mode, vehicle, all that. So if you hit the FXL file, you're going to see it's going to have default stuff in there, and it's got a gear. So on the gear, you can go ahead and click that and go in and see all the lists of stuff that's in there. For example, if the code filter, there's set to all, which is going to show you everything, but it's broke down here between structures, road, earth, landscaping, utilities, etc., all the way down through that. What that means is you can go ahead and actually pick something that you want, right? Like building. If you had a building and you're not sure what these acronyms are, that's where you would go in there again to each one of these and you would pick. So some of them are pretty straightforward. You come in here where that feature code is, there's a little pencil looking thing, edit. You can go in there and you can actually see what they are. So the code is the stuff on the left right here. CL for clothesline, CMH for common manhole. There's just a lot of different options in here, and this is how you can kind of break it down. And on the left side here, you can see that there's a difference. I call it the roller stuck in the mud. There's a difference between points, lines, and being able to put reports. You can actually add new ones right here if you want. But before I do that, if you hit the all, let's say I've got to do some utilities. I want to grab manholes, water valves, a fire hydrant. Let's go ahead and do utilities. When I go to utilities, then I can break it down here or actually look and see what the layer type is and what it is. So in here, let's just look for a fire hydrant. Right there, the fire hydrant, FH. So if I go ahead and click on that and hit accept, now what I can do is go to my main screen here and go to the roller stuck in the mud option right there, and I can do this, and it already puts in fire hydrant there. Now on your screen after you record the point, in Siteworks, you're still just going to have a point on the screen, but that feature code just automatically tags to it, and it also is going to help if someone's using Business Center on the back end. Someone using Business Center can actually take your feature code library and do a download of your work order, bring in your SPJ file, and they can actually open that up to where on the screen, they wouldn't just see points, they would actually see the name, point code, and an icon that looks like a fire hydrant. So we'll just go ahead and I'll just do my own FH just for the heck of it here. And I'm going to have no show every time. We'll just go ahead and record that like we would any other point. Just go ahead and shoot either side of it because you don't necessarily need to get the top of it. I'm just going to go ahead and level up and hit accept and take the shot. So now I've actually got a fire hydrant option in there that's got a feature code already to it. So if I zoom way in and actually turn on my point name here. I can hit the gear and go to point name. I could even turn on point code just to kind of see what those are on the main screen. And there it is, fire hydrant, fire hydrant. If I touch and hold on it, I can go to the attributes. I can change all that. I can add a PDF report, whatever it is. And then I could go to water valves, right? So same thing, just go back into here and look for water valves. And if you go into that, change it back to utilities, which it's already on utilities, then you can look in here for an actual water valve down at the bottom. So there's my water valve, and it could be a water valve or a water meter or a water line. These are, like I said, default ones in here. What you could do is add new ones. We have one in there, but just to show you the process, you can hit new and you can give it a name. You know, it's a, we'll call it a small water valve. Code, you can just do, we'll call it S water valve for small water valve. Category, it can be Siteworks, structures, whatever it is, but I'm going to put it on utilities. Point right there, I can do it as a point or a line. We'll leave it as a point. Include in the surface, no. Layer, if I have a layer, I can put it in the layers. So if I go down here, I've got a utilities layer. If not, I can hit plus right here and I can add it. But this is just for the actual layer option. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in utilities and hit accept. So there again, now you can make your own, right? So I'm going to come down, set down on my water valve, hit accept. I've got that as an option in there, and I can go ahead and just take the shot and change the name again to a small water valve, and it's still on there. Show every time no. Go ahead and hit accept and take the shot. So don't be afraid to go in here and look at what these are. You can do the same thing for line strings. So if you come in here and go to new line, you can actually do the line strings as you would normally do, but if you come back into FXL, feature code library, and look at this, you've got the same option in here for utilities, but let's do one right here that's, we'll call it the sanitary sewer line. But if you notice that one looks like a different icon right there. Now, as I come out of that, double tap on that, I can go in here to the new line, and it already just defaults me there to a line type, sewer line. So it's kind of using what's already there. And that's where you could go out here and find your sewer lines and take the shots. So even though I don't have a sewer line right here, this video is just to show you what's going on. So I can take a line string, hit that. If I hit my menu and measure to cancel out of that, now, if I go back to that, you can see that it's got a name, but I can touch and hold on it and actually go to line information, and it's got that sewer line. The layer is utility and sanitary, and the same thing in the main gear right here on the right side. You can go in here and go to layers and actually look at the layers that are on there. And if you notice in here, it's different now that I have a feature code library because I've got FXL, all those in there that are already set up because I don't have a design for this project. It's just a blank screen to show you. But these are options that you can unselect all and check back on what you do and don't. So you could go in here and go utilities, click utilities on, hit accept, and only see what you want to see on the screen right there. So you can see how it kind of only brought it back to that one layer. And then you can just go back into layers and turn that all back on, select all. So if you had to as-built everything on a job site, this is a newer job site, but let's say you needed to gather it so you could make a change on a job. Even these light poles and the sprinkler lines, sprinkler boxes, each one of these have their own code in here. So if you go into the feature code library one more time and hit the drop-down bar right here, you can go in between all the different ones, the utilities, but right here you could go to structures, and you're not sure what those acronyms are, so you hit the little pencil there, and there's a light pole. So LP for light pole, go ahead and hit accept. You could come along here and actually record all these in. So they have a perfect location where they're at. It depends on you on how you want to actually do it. If you want to shoot all four corners or just one side, I'm just going to shoot one side. We'll just call this light pole also to match that. So we've got that. Now let's say they needed some landscaping. I'm just trying in this video to give you the options, give you the tools. You can do whatever you want in here. I'll go ahead and go back into that feature code. We're going to drop this down. Let's look for landscape. So in landscape, let's look and see what we got in here. Irrigation box. landscape edge, you've got trees, bushes, anything you can think of in here. And there again, you can always add your own. You can hit a new one. But I'm going to go ahead and just use irrigation box right there. And we'll go ahead and just shoot all this stuff in. So there we go. What we can do is pull this into Business Center here in a little bit and just look at it. But just be familiar with what your feature code libraries are at the top right here. And you can click that on and off right there to get those. Notice on the right side of your screen also, you've got a different option that shows up with the feature code. It's this layers option or stack of papers. If you click that, that's kind of a shortcut to the map visible layers option like I was showing you earlier. You can go through here and clean this up. Make your screen just a little bit easier to see. And there again, I turned on the point name and code. You can turn those back off, clean your screen up. Just the whole intent of these videos is just for people to know what they have in front of them, what these are capable of, what these little mystery boxes are, like FXL file. Those are things that I didn't actually use when I was doing survey quite a few years ago, but it's nice to know about it now, just to know that it's an actual option. Here in Utah, we have a feature code library for UDOT themselves on their job sites that's kind of a standardized one that they like. That's one that could just be plugged in here. If you have that in all your areas, just go ahead and plug in your own feature code or just create your own and delete what you do and don't want.
Once you're done shooting that data, your data collector creates a SPJ file in the work order. In your work orders folder, you have a .spj file for whatever you named the actual work order. I left mine on calibration for this job site. If you drag and drop this SPJ file into Business Center, you can come in here and actually see the points that show up. And it did draw a surface in between because of a couple of those line strings that I did. Once we turn that off, you can see the things that we shot out there, the sewer water valves, and then right here you've got the FH for fire hydrant, and we've got the other points over here, the light pole. But as you see, each one of these, if I click on it and go to the properties, they have the information here. So there's point ID, what I called it, light pole, and then feature code is LP, but there's nothing else down here for a feature code. Same thing with this box. There isn't a feature code, it's just the feature code up here that was in here and the point ID and also the fire hydrant. In Business Center, at the top left here, if you're in your Survey tab, has a Process Feature Codes option. In here, you can see where it sees my calibration SPJ file that came in. If I click that box and hit Process Source, you may get this warning right off the bat for selecting a feature code processing. You can simply just come in here and in this pick basically the FXL feature code global library. As soon as you hit that, it'll actually import that in and you can go ahead and process that. Now, when I zoom in on the fire hydrant, see how there's an actual icon right here? If I click on that and come over here, there's a feature option that shows up that says that it's a fire hydrant. I still have the feature ID up here and feature code here, but now it has that there. The person in the office dealing with this data has the icons, and we'll come down here to the boxes. There's the box around it. Same thing. Now I've got a feature option here, which is irrigation control box. And finally, for our light pole, same thing right here. There's the actual icon that gave us the option here for feature icon. So it depends on if you're going to ever need this. Not a lot of people use feature code libraries, but this is something that you could definitely use if you've got a lot of people working between the field and the office, or yourself, and you just want to be able to deal with this data separately.
Thank you for watching this video from SiteTech and Intermountain on FXL files or feature code libraries.